So hello everyone, welcome to Anuj Jindal. Welcome to RBI 247 sessions and welcome everyone. Good evening everyone. Good evening Afsana. Tell me is everything is fine with the audio and the video so that we can start with our session, our special session today. Okay? Okay. Thank you Abhishek. Thank you Sejal. Thank you very much. Let's begin with our session quickly. Okay? Okay, so today session is going to be very important again. Why? Because we are discussing very important meeting of the RBI, which is Monetary Policy Committee. Okay, this committee is held by the RBI bi-monthly. That means after every 2 months they meet and decides the key rates, right? The key rates of the key policy rates, right? And along with this they also issue some policy initiatives, right? And these are a part of statement on development and regulatory policies. So we are going to discuss both the key highlights and the detailed information of these two notification of the RBI. Okay, so this the MPC that has been held recently is the 53rd MPC meet on 5 to 7, which was conducted on 5 to 7 February 2025. Okay, now who attended, who is the chairman of this meet? Shri Sanjay Malhotra, that is the honorable governor of the RBI, which is the first meeting by this by our governor, right? They have first meeting. This is the first meeting that has been conducted by Shri Sanjay Malhotra sir, right? And this is the 53rd meeting, okay, that has been conducted by the RBI. Now, who all are the MPC members along with the chairmanship of the RBI governor? So, Dr. Nagesh Kumar, Shri Sogata Bhattacharya, Professor Ram Singh, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, Shri M. Rajeshwar Rao. So these all were the members of the MPC meet. That is the 53rd MPC meet, and next MPC meet will be conducted in April 2025. Okay, so the basic information is clear to you. Now we are going to discuss the major highlights of the meet. Okay, now this slide shows you the major highlights, or we can say the major changes that has been made by the MPC meet. First is the policy rate reduction. Okay, they have reduced the policy rate by 25 basis point at 6.25. Okay, पहले कितना था? 6.5% था for last 11 months. So for last 11 months they have kept the repo rate at 6.5. Now in February they have reduced this rate to 6.25%. okay, तो कितना reduce किया? 0.25% they have reduced this time. Why? Because they are stimulating the economic growth and they think that inflation is under control. Okay, so as per the data that they have in their hand, they believe that the inflation is under control and we have to work more on the economic growth. So economic growth को बढ़ाने के लिए they have reduced the repo rate, and we know repo rate is a base of many other rates like standing deposit facility, MSF rate and bank rate, and hence these rates has been also adjusted by the RBI. Okay, if we talk about the repo rate, okay, we can see that in May to Feb 2023, RBI increased the repo rate from 4% to 6.5%, right? So हम कह सकते हैं कि 2.5% इंक्रीज एक्यूमुलेटली भी इन्होंने यहाँ पर इंक्रीज किया था, right? Then for last 11 months, right? For last 11 months, they have kept the policy rate, that is repo rate, at 6.5%. And after this long period, they have reduced this rate by 0.25%, right? and it has reached 6.25%. So any fact related to such historical changes in the repo rate can be asked in the examination. Okay, previous year अगर आप क्वेश्चन देखेंगे तो वहां पर भी पूछा गया था that for how long they have kept this rate, और we can say कितना increase हुआ है repo rate में from May 2022 to February 2023. ठीक है, तो ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. Right, so I have depicted the same through this chart, and we were talking about the standing deposit facility and the MSF and the bank rate. मैंने आपको बताया that repo rate is a base of these rates. Okay, तो वो किस तरह decide होते हैं? Under the liquidity adjustment facility. What is this facility? This is a facility under which RBI facilitate funds to the banks, and in order to adjust the liquidity of the financial sector, or we can say banking sector, right? So iske under we have few rates, that is repo rate, right? And then we have MSF, जिसमें emergency funds दिए जाते हैं banks को, and then we have SDF, that is banks जहाँ पर deposit करते हैं, जब वो deposit करते हैं अपने extra funds with the RBI and the interest rate that they get in return. Okay, तो इस केस में हमारा जो repo rate है, करंट रेट है, वो है 6.25. SDF कितना होता है? इट इज 25 बेसिस, 0.25% लेस होता है. ठीक है, लेस ऑफ व्हाट रेपो रेट इज. एंड MSF इज ऑलवेज मोर देन द रेपो रेट, 0.25 मोर ऑफ द करंट रेपो रेट. ओके, तो इस केस में क्या होंगे SDF एंड MSF? तो इट वुड बी 6.5 MSF, क्योंकि इमरजेंसी फंड्स हैं, दे आर कॉस्टलियर फॉर द बैंक्स, एंड SDF 6.6%, राइट? 6%. सो we can see in the slide as well, the SDF is 6% and the MSF and the bank rate दोनों सेम होते हैं, उनके रेट सेम होते हैं, पर इनके पर्पस दोनों अलग अलग होते हैं. 6.5% is the rate for them. और this time the neutral stance has been decided by the RBI. That means in the shorter period of time they are not sure whether they will increase or decrease their interest rates. Okay, so they have kept the stance at neutral. Okay, can you tell me how many stances are there? Can you tell me how many stances are there apart from neutral stance? Can you name them? What all are these stances apart from neutral one? Yes, accommodative stance. Good. What else? Right, AK, withdrawal of accommodation. Okay, then take it as a homework for yourself. Okay, read about stances. Okay, this is a very important concept, or we can say static concept of the regulatory bodies. So remember it. Okay, if you, in case you don't know. Okay, तो हम next topic पे जाते हैं. तब तक that bank rate is linked with the penal rates. The penal rates that banks have charged. Okay, so banks जो भी penal rate हैं that are linked with the bank rate, and we see that bank rate has been reduced, right? It was 6.7% earlier, now it has been reduced to 6.5%, and accordingly penal rates will also reduce. And with this notification of the RBI, we have also provide the penal type and their existing and the revised rate, right? So as per the mild penalty, जितना भी बैंक रेट होगा 3% will be the upper, we can say, charges that will be charged by the bank. So in this case पहले कितना था? 6.75 था, अब कितना हो गया है? दोनों के मिलाकर 9.75% थे mild penalty. But now because of the revised rates in the bank rate, the penal charges have been reduced from 9.75% to 9.5%. एंड अगर सेवियर पेनल्टी की बात करें 11.75% से रिड्यूस होकर 11.5% हो गए हैं, राइट? सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन आ सकता है फेज 1 में या फेज 2 में, राइट? लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द इन्फ्लेशन नाउ. दे हैव केप्ट द we can say the stance at the neutral, because they believe that the inflation is under control and there is a need to there is a need to stimulate the economic growth of the economy, right? And what are the headline inflation and what are the data on the inflation? Here we are with that the November and December inflation was eased, right? According to them, the inflation has been eased. We can see here in the data that November और December का data यहाँ पर discuss किया गया है, that we can see November में 5.48% था CPI and now it has been reduced. In December, it has been reduced to 5.22%. So we can say the inflation has eased. And we can also see the same in the food inflation. The red line here shows the food inflation and the blue line shows the headline inflation. And we can see from the graph that there has been a reduction in the inflation. And considering this data of the inflation, they have seen that the inflation has eased. And now we need to look at the growth perspective now. We have to control the repo rate in the growth perspective now, right? And considering that the October data was 6.2, so it was all-time high, right? October में जो inflation था, that was all-time high, 6.2 था, इसीलिए they have kept the repo rate same, but now they have reduced considering the data that the inflation has eased, right? And what all are the reasons of reduction in the inflation is that lower vegetables prices because supply has improved. ठीक है, पीछे से supply अच्छी आ रही है, इसीलिए the prices of the vegetables have moderated or we can say low हो चुके हैं, कम हो चुके हैं. And the other reason is a decline in the food inflation reducing the overall price pressure. So major जो खतरा था और वी कैन से रिस्क था अपनी पुरानी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी हम अगर देखेंगे तो वाज मेजरली फ्रॉम द food inflation. The food inflation was very high and we can see from here that the food inflation has eased now, and that is the reason the overall pressure on the headline inflation has been also reduced here. So they have also talked about the core inflation. अब core inflation क्या होती है? This is different from the headline inflation जहाँ पर fuels और energies के जो prices होते हैं वो include नहीं किए जाते. Now as per this data or we can say this meeting, right, they said that the core inflation is expected to be moderate and will remain moderate because fuel prices will continue to deflate. That means their prices will moderate, their prices will ease in the upcoming projections. Okay. Now, what are the future outlooks of the inflation? Now, what are the futuristic or we can say projections regarding the upcoming inflation rates? Okay. So, what RBI says? RBI says the inflation is expected to fall. We can see here from the data quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 of financial year 26, the inflation prices or we can say inflation rate is reducing. Considering these projections, they have gave reasons why we are projecting a lower inflation in upcoming financial year. So why they are saying that good kharif output is there, winter vegetable prices are falling and strong rabi crops. So basically खरीफ crops और रबी crops दोनों ही बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रही हैं this time, and winter vegetables के prices भी lower हो गए हैं, and basically food inflation is working well, and that is the reason we are projecting lower inflation in the upcoming quarters. Okay. And they also talked about the core inflation. Core inflation के हिसाब से वो कह रहे हैं that it is expected to be moderate level. Okay. इनका जो deflation है, that means इनके जो prices जो कम होंगे वो बहुत ही कम रेट से होंगे, पर इन्फ्लेशन जो रहेगी काफी रहेगी, बट इट विल फॉल इन अ लोअर रेट. कम तो होगी बट बहुत ही धीरे कम होगी. और अगर कोई इंक्रीज होता भी है प्राइसेस में तो दैट विल बी इन द मॉडरेट लेवल, मतलब कि इतना कि मॉडरेट रहे, इतना हाई प्राइसेस हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं इन द कोर इन्फ्लेशन, राइट. एंड व्हाट आर द रिस्क? एंड दे हैव आल्सो प्रोजेक्टेड सम रिस्क, राइट. एंड व्हाट आर दीज रिस्क? They are saying that global financial uncertainties might affect these projections, right? So there has been a risk. Okay. Volatile energy prices. What if the fuel and food prices increases substantially, in that case there is a risk in the projections that we have made. And then we have adverse weather events. ठीक है, अगर वेदर ही नहीं अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, मान लीजिए कोई क्लाइमेट रिस्क आ जाता है इन द इकोनॉमी, देन अवर खरीफ एंड रबी क्रॉप्स विल परफॉर्म बैड एंड द फूड इन्फ्लेशन विल रेज, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली this risk can hamper the projections that we have made here. Okay, I hope this is clear. The future outlook of the inflation is clear. Now we are going to talk about the economic outlook. Economic outlook हम दो तरीकों से देखते हैं, one at the global level and one at the domestic level. Okay, one at the global level and what at the domestic level. Okay, so global level पे अगर हम देखें, so they are saying that it is experiencing the slower growth. So the growth is slow for the global economy, right? Globally. Now there are several risks ascertained with this growth. Okay, now what are these risks? That slower disinflation. Inflation तो कम हो रही है but at a slower rate, right? Other reason is geopolitical tensions like war-like situation and the bad relationship between the countries are raising the geopolitical tensions among the countries, right? And there is policies uncertainties that is related to the trade policies. Any policy that has been conducted or we can say introduced by the advanced economies like US and China, if they release any kind of trade policies that are hampering our performances, our exports and our imports, then it is going to be a risk, or we can say a global risk, right? Then we have US dollar, which is getting stronger day by day, right? The US dollar is getting stronger day by day, and exports and imports are getting impacted by such change, and hence it is a risk, right, for any of the emerging or we can say developing nations, right? Now what is the support in such case? Now support क्या है? We can say a benefit to the global economic. अब इस ये growth तो हो रही है, but कैसे हो रही है, right? It is due to trade activities. Now the trade activities are performing well by each and every country, and hence it is promoting growth of the global economic scenario. Growth कम है but है growth, right? Then we are talking about the domestic economic growth. Now we are talking about India domestic level पे कितनी growth है and what are the projections for the same. We are going to discuss that. Okay, so as per the MPC meet, the real GDP is 6.4%, which is much more less than the 8.2%. Okay, अगर हम year on year growth देख रहे हैं, year on year growth देख रहे हैं इसी टाइम पर, that is February we can say 2024 में the growth was projected as 8.2%, which is much less, we can say much higher than the 6.4%. अब ऐसा क्यों है? ग्रोथ तो हो रही है but it is less growth. Okay, पहले कितनी ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्ट की गई थी? 8.2%, but now this time the growth is there but it is less, it is 6.4%. Okay, and what are the reasons for such growth? This is supported by private consumption. That means people are spending more and more in their private consumption, and hence it is supporting the GDP growth, right? And there is a supply side support as well, which is related to the service sector. That means service sector is performing well. Agriculture sector is also recovering, and industrial growth is also recovering. It is weaker, but it is also supporting, we can say, the current real GDP of the India. And hence these all are the reasons why we are expecting such growth of 6.4%. I hope it is clear. Then they have projected the GDP growth for the next quarters, or we can say the next financial year. Here are the projections. For the first quarter they have projected 6.7. Second quarter के लिए they have projected 7%. Third quarter के लिए they have projected 6.5 and 6.5 for the quarter fourth of financial year 26. Okay, now what are the risks and we can say the reasons or the factor that are supporting such growth in the upcoming year. Okay, now the downside risks are same as we have discussed earlier. These are geopolitical tension. Obviously the geopolitical tension are the one that may impact these projections. Then we have protectionist ट्रेड पॉलिसीज. दैट मीन्स इन केस यूएस एक ऐसी ट्रेड पॉलिसीज लेकर आता है जिससे इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है क्या इंडिया के और इंडिया के एक्सपोर्ट्स एंड इंपोर्ट्स. इन दैट केस it could be a risk for the economy. Then we are discussing the volatility in the international commodity prices. What if the fuel prices or whatever we export or whatever we import from the international countries, in that case अगर उनके ज़्यादा प्राइस हाई या लो हो जाते हैं उन कमोडिटीज़ के, तो यहाँ की इंडस्ट्रीज और यहाँ के जो वी कैन से कंपनीज हैं दैट मे गेट इफेक्टेड, राइट. यहाँ की जो कंजप्शन है वो भी खराब हो सकती है. दैट इन दैट केस द जीडीपी ग्रोथ माइट गेट इम्पैक्टेड, राइट. देन वी हैव फाइनेंशियल मार्केट अनसर्टेनिटीज. अगेन जो हमारी फाइनेंशियल मार्केट है, अगर वहाँ से कोई रिस्क असरटेन किया जाता है, असेस किया जाता है और आइडेंटिफाई किया जाता है, एंड इट इज मच मोर लार्जर, its effect is much more larger, in that case it could be a risk for our upcoming GDP growth. Now what all are the economic drivers in this case? Healthy rabi prospects, that is the crops अच्छा perform कर रही हैं. Industrial recovery is there. Strong household consumption due to tax relief. अभी जो हमारा recent budget आया है that has been discussed by अर्चना मैम, right. अब वहाँ से जितने भी relief मिले हैं household consumptions, households को, उनकी जो उसकी वजह से उनकी जो consumption pattern है that will increase, they are expected to increase because they are left with more money, right. And that hence we can say that this is one of the growth driver of the upcoming GDP growth, right. And then we have resilient services export. That means export are expected to be resilient in upcoming years. That means they have the ability to bounce back from any kind of pressures, right. Then we have positive business sentiments अच्छे हैं, business sentiment अच्छे हैं. That means people are more investing in the economy and there are रिकवरी इन द फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एज वेल. अब फिक्स्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में क्या आएगा? दैट मीन्स गवर्नमेंट के जो पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर्स आते हैं दैट विल बी इंक्लूडेड इन दिस, राइट. सो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ ड्राइवर्स जो हैं ये सबको प्रमोट कर रही हैं और वी कैन से support कर रही हैं for the projections of the GDP growth. Now we are done with the MPC. We have discussed the inflation, we have discussed the GDP growth, we have also discussed the highlights of the MPC meet, right. Now we are here with the statement on development and regulatory policies. Here we discuss some policies that are being proposed by the RBI in their statement of this policies, right. So majorly उन्होंने इन 3 areas में policies निकाली हैं. The first is financial market, the second is cyber security and the third is payment system. एक एक करके देखते हैं what are these policies. So in the financial market they have introduced the forward contracts in the government securities. हमें पता है गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज क्या होती हैं. गवर्नमेंट जो पैसा रेज करने के लिए सिक्योरिटीज इशू करती हैं थ्रू आरबीआई इज द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, राइट. कोई भी उन्हें खरीद सकता है, एनीबडी, अ कॉर्पोरेशन और एनबीएफसी, एनीबडी कैन बेसिकली पार्टिसिपेट और वी कैन से बाय सच गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, राइट. नाउ द आरबीआई सेज दैट अब जो डेरिवेटिव्स हैं, डेरिवेटिव्स लाइक इंटरेस्ट swaps, options, forwards, futures, all such derivatives are used by the investors. किस लिए? ताकि वो अपना रिस्क मिटिगेट कर सके. फ्यूचरिस्ट जो होते हैं उसे मिटिगेट करने के लिए these derivatives are used by the investors. But market participants कह रहे हैं that we want forward contracts in the government securities as well. So इसीलिए with this we can say MPC meet they have decided that the forward contracts will be provided in the government securities. अब ये किया कैसे जाएगा? मान लीजिए पहले forward contracts allowed नहीं थे in the government securities. एक इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है, it want to invest in these government securities after 6 months. मेरा कहने का मतलब है दैट अभी उनके पास पैसे नहीं है एंड दे आर प्लानिंग टू बाय दीज गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज आफ्टर 6 months. ओके, अभी उनके पास पैसे नहीं है, ओके, बट इनके पास एक रिस्क है. रिस्क क्या है? क्या होता अगर इन बॉन्ड्स के प्राइसेस सडनली इंक्रीज हो जाते, जैसे कि करंटली अभी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी ने देखा दैट बॉन्ड्स बहुत अच्छे चल रहे हैं, इनका रिटर्न बहुत अच्छा है और अभी जो करंट प्राइस है इनका इट इज 100 रुपीज फॉर पर बॉन्ड. ओके, नाउ 6 months डाउन द लाइन अगर इन बॉन्ड के प्राइसेस 110 हो गए या फिर 115 हो गए तो उनको तो ज्यादा पैसे देने पड़ेंगे पर बॉन्ड के हिसाब से. सो इन दैट केस इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के पास एक रिस्क है ऑफ दिस प्राइसेस टू राइज इन फ्यूचर, राइट. तो इस रिस्क को वो किस तरह से मिटिगेट कर सकते हैं? अगर ये फॉरवर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आ जाए मार्केट में तो सो दे विल एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद द बैंक. ठीक है, जिस भी बैंक से दे आर बाइंग सच सिक्योरिटीज दे विल एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट which is forward contract in this case, right? And they will fix the price and the date. ठीक है, वो कहेंगे मैं आपसे 105 रुपीज में ही खरीदूंगा आफ्टर 6 मंथ और इतनी इतनी डेट को खरीदूंगा. एंड with this they are fixing their, or we can say they are mitigating the risk of price fluctuation here, right? And here the forward contract can be used in the government securities as well. So this is how they are helping the long term investors to mitigate such risk, right? And improve the pricing efficiency in the bond based market, right? And this draft was issued in December 2023. Okay, एक draft इसी के regarding issue किया गया था in December 2023. But now with this we can say policy, a final guidelines related to this will be issued by the RBI. Okay, first policy आपको clear है, right? प्राइवेट कंजप्शन, जितने भी कंजप्शन जो हाउस होल्ड कर रहे हैं या फिर प्राइवेट कंपनीज कर रही हैं फॉर बाइंग गुड्स फॉर देयर पर्सनल कंजप्शन. ओके, ये बहुत बेसिक चीज है, यू मस्ट नो दीज थिंग्स. ओके, access of SEBI registered non-bank brokers to NDS OM. Now what is NDS OM? It is a portal, or we can say it is a platform that is used by banks to buy government securities in the secondary market. Okay, secondary market में trade करने के लिए होती हैं government securities, right? And वो कैसे करते हैं trade? Through this platform, that is NDS OM. Right now, पहले क्या होता था? Only regulated entities, banks and primary dealers can access this platform. But now they are expanding the scope of such platform, wherein they are also including non-brokers that are registered with the SEBI. Okay, so they are increasing the participation of this platform. इससे क्या होगा? more participation would be there, more liquidity would be there. ठीक है, उतना ही matching जो होगा, the order matching would be easier for the participants in this case. Okay, so I hope this policy is also the policy that has been proposed by the RBI is also clear to you. Then we have comprehensive review of the trading and the settlement timing. Now we know कि हर एक market का अपना अपना timing है of trading and settlement. अगर हम NSE BSE की बात करते हैं, they have 9 to 3. अगर commodity derivative की बात करते हैं, they have different timing and so forth. currency derivative की अपनी timing है. Now considering the discrepancy in the timings and the trading and settlement timing, the RBI is trying to synchronize such market and their settlement timings. Okay, now why they are considering? Because the recent developments that have been made in the financial market induces them to make such change. Why? Because payment services, we can say the payment system is 24/7, right? Non-residents are more and more, they are participating in the we can say domestic financial market. और जो फॉरेक्स सर्टेन इंटरेस्ट रेट डेरिवेटिव मार्केट हैं वो 24/5 डेज काम करते हैं, राइट? एंड इंक्रीज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ट्रेडिंग. तो इन सब फैसिलिटीज के साथ साथ वी शुड ऑल्सो मेक दिस फैसिलिटी वेयर इन all the markets are trading and settling the trades at the same time, right? And this has been proposed by the RBI. उसके लिए वो क्या करेंगे? What they have proposed that they are planning to set up a working group. Okay, एक working group set up करेंगे with the stakeholders that will review the trading and settlement timings. Okay, they will review what should be the trading and settlement timings of each and every market type, and this group will send the report for the same to the RBI on April 30, 2025. Okay, I hope the data and the fact is clear to you here. Okay, very simple. Now we have come to cyber security. अब cyber security में कौन सी initiatives लेकर आए हैं? Okay, first is enhancing the trust in the financial sector through bank.in, fin.in. तो basically cyber security किससे related है? फ्रॉड से रिलेटेड हैं. जितने भी फ्रॉड्स होते हैं हमारे इन द फाइनेंशियल मार्केट ड्यू टू लीकेज ऑफ द कॉन्फिडेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशंस, राइट? ऑल सच थिंग्स आर कंसिडर्ड एज अ फ्रॉड, राइट? And considering this problem, considering this increased digital payment fraud in the financial market on the banking sector, they are introducing a internet domain particularly for the banks. ठीक है, एक इंटरनेट डोमेन इशू कर रहे हैं, इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं RBI फॉर द बैंक्स एंड द ऑथराइज्ड financial institutions, right? और proposal क्या है? How will this domain will work? एक bank.in domain यानी कि एक बैंक अपने वेबसाइट में ऐड करेगा दिस थिंग बैंक.in, ठीक है? जैसे .com होता है वैसे bank.in will be added by each and every bank, right? And who will be the registrar of such domain? IDRBT, which is an institute that has been introduced by the RBI in 1996 for the development and research in the banking sector and in the financial sector. That is going to be a registrar for this domain, and registration of this domain will start from April 2025. Very important information. And the future plan includes that fin.in domain will also included for the non-banking entities like NBFC. ठीक है? तो NBFCs के लिए अलग से एक डोमेन बनाया जाएगा जिसका नाम क्या होगा? fin.in. एंड फॉर द बैंक्स के लिए bank.in domain will be introduced by the RBI. ओके, ये किस लिए किया जा रहा है? इन ऑर्डर टू रिड्यूस द फ्रॉड्स इन द डिजिटल पेमेंट सिस्टम, राइट? What will happen if they introduce such thing? It will enhance their trust, and the digital payment and the payment services will be get insured and secured by the RBI. A person can see whether the website is authorized or not. Okay, so this is how they are planning to introduce one policy under the cyber security area. Now we will come to the payment system area, wherein they have introduced one policies related to AFA के बारे में हमने बात करी थी in our recent session, which is a extra layer of authentication that requires the payment to be done. Okay, and what they are introducing this? Why they are introducing this? They are introducing this AFA, this authentication in the cross-border transaction. That means international transactions पे भी they are introducing such AFA. पहले international transactions में AFA नहीं था. Now they are introducing the same, right? So additional factor of authentication has already improved the security, ठीक है, of the domestic digital payment, boosting the customer confidence. Currently, the AFA is mandatory for the domestic transactions, but it was not there for the international transactions. So here, what RBI is doing? RBI is proposing here to enhance the security of the international card not present transaction using Indian issued card. AFA will be also enabled for this transaction. अब card not present का क्या मतलब है? That means एक ऐसी ट्रांजैक्शन जहां पर कार्ड का होना जरूरी नहीं है. कैसे कि जैसे कि ऑनलाइन परचेज करा है आपने कुछ, राइट? तो उस केस में आपको क्या चाहिए? उसकी कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए. आपको कार्ड नंबर चाहिए होता है, आपको सीवीवी नंबर चाहिए होता है, राइट? उसकी एक्सपायरी डेट चाहिए होती है, राइट? ऑल सच इंफॉर्मेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड. पर कार्ड का, फिजिकल कार्ड का होना जरूरी नहीं है. जैसे कि आपको स्वाइप करना जरूरी नहीं है, टैप करना उस ट्रांजैक्शन पे जरूरी नहीं है. तो बेसिकली बेस्ड ऑन सच इंफॉर्मेशन वन कैन मेक द ट्रांजैक्शन. अब यहाँ पर फिशिंग की जो प्रॉब्लम है, जहां पर लोगों को धोखे से उनसे कॉन्फिडेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन ले ली जाती है, राइट? एंड फिर कॉन्फिडेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन ले ली जाती है और ट्रांजैक्शन एक इलीगल या फिर किसी भी तरह की ट्रांजैक्शन कर दी जाती है थ्रू दिस इंफॉर्मेशन. तो कंसिडरिंग दिस kind of frauds in the international market, they are planning to introduce the AFA facility in such card not present online payment, right? Online payments or transactions, right? I hope this is clear. This additional security will apply when the overseas merchant is also set up for the AFA. Okay, तो overseas merchant भी AFA provide कराएंगे, तभी ये चीज we can say implement हो सकती है. I hope this is clear. Now we are done with our statement on development and regulatory policies as well. Let's discuss the questions now. So as per the recent monetary policy report, February 2025, the statement on development and regulatory policies, the RBI has introduced new measures to enhance the cyber security in the financial sector. What new domain has the RBI introduced for the Indian banks to enhance the cyber securities? So what is the domain that has been introduced by the RBI, or we can say it proposed by the RBI as per the new MPC meet? Right. Right, everyone. So C is the right option in this case. Bank.in is the new domain for the banks, right? And non financial institutions के लिए कौन सा है domain? Everybody answer me this question. अगर यहाँ पर नॉन फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए पूछा जाता तो आंसर कौन सा करेक्ट होता इस केस में? राइट, ई सही होता. गुड. As per the recent monetary policy report, February 2025, and the statement of the MPC, the RBI has adjusted various rates in the latest MP, that is monetary policy. Match the following rates with the corresponding percentages. तो ये rates हैं और stances भी given है आपको, and आपको respective rates से इनको match करना है. And what is the right answer for this? Right, everybody? Option A is the right answer. Standing deposit facility जो है वो कितनी है? It is 6%. Policy repo rate कितना है? 6.25%. And this is the right match. I hope it is clear. Recently, a monetary policy report has been issued by the RBI. As per the recent RBI proposal, which group of entity has been direct access to the NDS OM platform? तो अभी अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था that NDS OM की क्या कर रहे हैं? Participation increase कर रहे हैं by adding one more, we can say, participant into this. And who is that participant? SEBI registered non-bank brokers, non-regulated entities, foreign banks, private sector banks, government banks. So what is the right answer? Right, everyone. A is the right answer. Good. Okay, so MPC was released recently as part of its efforts to expand the interest rate derivative products. The RBI introduced which new product to help the market participant manage the interest rate risk in the government securities? ठीक है, तो एक नया डेरिवेटिव अलाउ किया गया है गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज में, राइट? एंड व्हाट इज दैट डेरिवेटिव दैट हैज बीन वी कैन से प्रपोज्ड बाय द आरबीआई, which can be interest rate swaps, interest rate futures, forward contracts, interest rate options, interest rate swap rates. So what is the right answer? Right. C is the right answer. That is, forward contracts had been allowed by the RBI that can be used for mitigating the risk arising from government securities. Okay. So I hope this is clear. In case you have any doubt, you can ask me here. Okay, so I hope everything was clear. I hope the session was fruitful for you. So here we are ending our session. Best of luck for your examination and goodbye.